Welcome to another episode of Sustainable Living at Home with Janine Liza on Art with Janine Liza, where I share, first of all, I wanted to share my front garden's flowers as they went into full bloom this spring before getting into the episode, where I share ways that I find to add some sustainability to living in an urban environment. Planting seeds around the garden. It's an absolutely gorgeous day outside for being the first week in May. It's actually so sunny out there that I'm a bit concerned it might be too warm. And I know we're not supposed to plant much until the May 2-4 weekend. I have some vegetables here still to plant. I did get started on it in the last video, and I've got some kale I'd like to put in. And I'd like to take a look in the enclosure today and see what kind of space I have for which vegetables or seeds. I'm going to put some seeds in today as well. I might create a bed of scallions as well and onions this year inside the enclosure. I've never done that before. I usually grow them in the ground, but I'd like to see how they work in the enclosure in the raised beds. So let's get to the garden and see what we can. I've just entered the enclosure and I'm just taking a look at the beds here. I have a tomato cage here, but I may use it for growing peas instead of tomatoes this year. Sometimes I get tomato plants that just pop up. So there's one bed, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are now empty. This one here, I transplanted all of the kale that actually, my goodness, look at this. This is new growth. These were from last year. So this kale right here has basically survived the entire winter here in Canada. And I just transferred all of the ones I found into this one corner bed here to give them a chance. We'll see how they do. I'm going to add a few more kale plants around it, and this may be all I need for kale this year. Okay, I'm going to get the seeds and I'll be right back. One of my favorite things about this little enclosure is the latch. And I've just realized that it's actually not, oh there it is, it worked. Okay, so that's good, it's still working. And I can just open and close it. Sometimes the squirrels will get under the door, but I put a bit of a mesh here just in case. And there, kind of a fun thing. There we go. And so we're in the enclosure again. And here are the plants that I'm going to be picking some of them to put in here. Let's grab the kale plants and we're just going to pack this section out with kale. There we go. Some purple. I usually plant them from seed, but I've decided that since I have enough, I might just put them in here and go with the few new ones and these ones. This will be enough to add to salads and sandwiches and a little bit of soup. Yeah, I think that will be perfect. In this bed, I've decided to put scallions and different types of onions. And it might be a little bit overcrowded, but that's okay. I want to put this point upwards, place some of these in here, like this. I'm not sure, I think that's too deep. I have to fill the ditch in a little bit here. Just poke. I probably could have just poked them into the soil because they're so small. And they're just about right for poking out the top of the soil. And just knock that down like that. Now if a cheeky squirrel gets in here, they might try pulling some of these up. And that would be a little bit frustrating, but most creatures don't like the onions. So these ones might be all right. There we go. Oh, that's easy. This is going really well. I may not have room for the other ones I was thinking of experimenting with, but we'll see. Or maybe I save some of these and put them in a different bed, because it's good to have tribes around your vegetables. The critters don't really like them, so I'm hoping that that will be a bit of a deterrent. any type of onion really. If I slice an onion up in the kitchen and have little bits left over that aren't going to be used, I'll throw those in the garden just to have the smell of onion in the garden bed. Right, I'm going to pop these into the container and save them. There's some extras here. We're going to make use of them somewhere else. Because I'd like to try some of these. These are just seeds right now. Southport Red Globe onions. So let's have a look. I'll just take my glove off to get the seeds. And now we're just taking a chance. See how this turns out. Some seeds there. I think I'll put these down the side over here, the far side. And if they start to grow, I'll separate them a little bit. So I'll start with, take that off. I'll start with a row of these, and again, if they start to sprout, it's just sort of a risk. You know, when you put seeds in, it's always a risk. See how it goes. If they take, I will just separate them so they have more space. Even though I know that a lot of the seeds that I have grown personally have successfully taken in the garden, when I buy packets of seeds, I never know how they're going to grow. So now I have to remember where I put those other onions and just make a couple of rows here for the seeds. There we go. And that doesn't have to be deep either. I'll just go for it and put all these in. They're just little chives anyways. Let me have a look at what they're called then. Rosa Lung, heirloom, sort of a chive, rosy coloured chive. I'll just stick these in here around the edges. Don't want to waste any soil space. There we go. Well, let's put that back in there. Okay, so this is the onion bed, and I suppose the way I can remember it is if I leave this packet here, I'll just tuck it in there, and that's going to remind me that I've planted onions in there. I can always make little signs for them later. We're right beside the pond here, so this enclosure looks out over the little pond. I had an aquaponics system running here at one point that filtered the water up from the pond through these containers into some beads, and then I had plants in here. I'll find that video sometime and share it. They took the nutrients from the pond and my plants were growing in here, and then the water went back down through another filter and got all cleaned up to go back into the pond, and the pond had beautiful water in it. It has a filter right now, but I might try to set that back up again sometime. Now let's take a look at this bed here. Okay, oh here's the other kale, so I'm going to pop that in the other bed. Alright, so here, this is cucumber, this is basil. I'm going to be putting the herbs in the ground in another bed that I have over there. And this is rosemary that's also going in the ground bed. This is a cauliflower that's going in a ground bed, so we don't need these ones here. Let's see what we've got left. I have a raised bed that I'm going to be putting the lettuce in. It has a lid on it that will protect the lettuce from frost. So like a little greenhouse. I think I will plant the seeds in the bed that has the tomato cage, because this one can grow up nice and tall. These can grow up here and they won't be shading anything. Just get the weed out of there. There we go. Okay, so I'll just start them around. Maybe I'll move this cage because I have a couple of cages. So how about I put one cage here, and then I'll go get another cage and put it here. And then they'll have a couple to climb up. Pop. Push peas. There we go. Let's push them in the soil. I'm probably going to use all of these this year. I could tip them out so they don't get too muddy in there, but I like to put some seeds in early, and then if they're doing well in that spot, I will put some more in. If they don't show up, then it might just be that they were put in too early, and I will still put a few to try it out in the warmer weather. We're having some really warm weather right now, though. I mean, anything could happen. We're in Canada, so it could suddenly become freezing again. But anything that's in this enclosure, even though it's open to the elements, the screening and the mesh and everything seem to shield it a little bit. So that's a lot right there. So I'll put some here where I'm going to put the other cage. I did have my gloves on so I could protect my hands from this, but it's okay. Let's get some more. That's enough to experiment with, I suppose. In good weather, this would not actually be an experiment. These peas tend to grow every time I plant them. I'm quite happy with that. There we go. We've got lots of peas in here now. They do like to climb. They can go all the way up the back, and I could be harvesting them from the roof of the enclosure. That would be great. It's a standing height, so that's good. Okay. I am really curious about these. These are lima beans. I don't want them to take over, but I'd really like to try them out. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some right here in this bed. I'll just move this little, I've got a crate here that I'm putting the camera on. And I'll just put some of these lima beans in that bed. Just at the back. Let's put some along here. We'll see what happens. These are an experiment. I did not grow these lima beans myself, so I'm just trying them out. Be kind of cool if it works. I like to have a little bit of a surprise in the garden each year, so I try something different that I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, and that just gives me that little element of surprise and excitement if it works out. And a nice treat. If these grow, they're going to be tasty. I'd love to taste the fresh grown lima beans. Saute them up with a little bit of butter and garlic. Okay. So we have planted 1, 2. Oh, got to put the kale in. Okay, I'm going to put the kale into this bed now. Even though my hands are covered in mud, I'm going to put my gloves on. I'll just dig around these plants. Just make some spaces. I can stick them in. There we go. There's 4 right there. I don't really need the sign, but I'll stick it in there anyways. Okay, just pop those in very gently. These 2. Yeah, they're ready to go in the ground. Well, in the raised beds. Get these guys in. They are in close quarters to each other, but the kale, when it grows in these raised beds, the leaves don't tend to get too large, which I like because it doesn't seem to expand as much as it does in the ground. And that gives me smaller leaves to enjoy in a sandwich or a salad. And if they do want to grow much larger, I can just move them to another spot, so that's okay. Let me just grab these guys out of here. Nice purple kale. Beautiful. There we go. So all the kale is in. Last year, this little bed here next to this gate was the herb. I think I'll put herbs in it again, but this time I will change the positions of where they were planted. Also, it seems the grass has grown in there a little bit, so I need to pull that out and get that sorted, turn it over a little bit, and right here is where the beans were growing up. So this little fence here is for the beans to grow up. And it's right by the front. Okay, so the bed's turned over and I've pulled all the grasses out of it. Now I'm going to put some herbs into it. Well, I just turned it over so the soil is quite soft already. I'll pop the rosemary in there. Look at that, it's ready to expand. I also have a little bit of basil to put in, so I'll just pop it in right here. Oh, maybe here. No, actually I need to do it more to the front here because I'm going to be putting in some scarlet runner beans over there. So I'll just put it right there. It's just a tiny little bit of basil. I'm not sure if you can see it. You probably can. There it is. Oh, there's some grass that doesn't need to be there. And there we go. Out of there too. Okay, so that's a start. I'm going to put the scarlet runner beans in the back here and they can grow up this. I won't take all of that down and it will help them to grow up. Okay, so just over here in front of the fence I'm going to put in some scarlet runner beans. You know, the ones that I have grown and harvested. So shiny and pretty. These colors. This one's orange. Well, we'll see how they turn out. Beautiful. Oops. I have one growing there. Okay, so again, I can just press these into the soil. Just press it in and cover it up. And hope the birds don't come and take it, or the squirrels. There we go. Let's get something started. If you put quite a few in, at least they won't take all of them. Some of them will start to grow. I'm very generous with the seeds for the scarlet runner beans because I'd like them to grow a lot and cover this fence here. I just threw one across there. Let's move that out. Put that in. They did well last year right here, so there's no reason to believe they won't do the same thing. Oh, this is one of those cranberry seeds. Maybe just for fun I'll stick one in here. There we go. That was a cranberry bush bean. Alright, I'll just add some more here again. Be generous with this. This particular corner, because they'll grow up here and over the enclosure a tiny bit on this corner. That will be fine. There we go. We've got those in. So now I want to look at planting two other types of seeds. I just have to find where the packet went. Oh, there's one. So this one is the cucuzza, which is going to go in the far bed where I put the trellis. We'll put some of those over there. And then this one is a special seed I purchased, and again it's a mystery. I don't know if it's going to grow or not. They are very long beans, so they grow like 3 feet long. The name is not on the package, so I guess we'll find out when they grow. Let's move to the other bed. Okay, so in this bed I'm going to be planting the long beans, and we'll just plant them along there. Look. Alright, So we'll just leave that now to grow, get watered. See how they do. Now for the cucuzza. Okay, so there's a little plant here. I'm going to give it another home. There we go, sweetie. All right, we'll put you somewhere else. We'll put you somewhere else for now. Okay. Well, let's put in these cucuzza seeds. See what happens. Well, there's a lot more worms in there. I'll just be gentle around them. There we go, a little bit gentler. Whoops, there you go, babe. Move over there. All right. Cucuzza. Let's get these in here. I don't want to put soil inside the packet. So I'm just going to remove my gloves. Well, we are in a neighborhood with other houses, and there's going to be lots of noise going on, but that's okay. There we go, little milk bottles. Look like milk bottles, or they actually also look like teeth. Okay, there we go. That's a start. We'll see how they do. I don't want to put too many because I'm not sure how these are going to go. If they go crazy, then I put too many in, that might not be good. So we'll see how those do. Just get my gloves on so I don't have to touch the bugs too much, the wood louse. And we just want the sun to get to that, so I'm going to just fold this back and put it like that. There we go. Now the sun can get in there, the rain. That's a good start. I'm going to wrap it up in the garden for now, and I will make a video when I do some more planting. I hope that you're enjoying planting your vegetables and getting ready for this growing season, and I'll see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. It was fun to make. If you're enjoying what you're seeing on this channel, please consider subscribing and helping me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers this year. Please enjoy exploring Art with Janine Liza YouTube, where you'll find more videos like this one, plus art and craft tutorials.